Tom Downey here for Chat Sports as we move on to the Seattle Seahawks and what's going on around them, focusing in on free agency today. Marquise Goodwin is first up here. This is interesting to me. So Jeremy Fowler of ESPN doesn't tweet it, just says it on SportsCenter. Weird flex. But he says that the Seahawks have put out a feeler for Marquise Goodwin, who did not play last year, mind you, after opting out. Now, Goodwin offers plenty of speed in that vertical threat, maybe some slot receiver role as well. Goodwin has had injury issues across his NFL career. He has not been able to stay healthy, especially as of late. Now you throw in the injury concerns and the opt-out, and it's all like, oh, it's not great at that point. So I'm very curious to see just how much effort was put into the feeler side of it. And in fact, I would venture a guess here at Hazard One that Goodwin is not a pre-draft move, but rather a post-draft pickup for Seattle if they don't get a receiver early. Because receiver is a need for this team. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and it's not great when you look at the depth. Freddie Swain is former day 3 pick, could maybe a number 3 or a 4, something along those lines. Other guys haven't played all that much. So from a need perspective, yes, receiver is one. And Goodwin in the end kind of reminds me of the signing of Philip Dorsett last year. Didn't play much in 2019, was banged up, not great production either, but he offers speed. If he's healthy and in shape, he can help you out as a receiver 3/receiver 4. So I do think as a cheaper, buy low type of flyer option, I think Goodwin could work for Seattle. I don't think he solidifies and fixes if you really want a good wide receiver 3. However, so do you want to add Marquise Goodwin? Get your votes in for me. 1 for yes, you do, or type in 2 for no, you don't. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments section. Now, some other receivers I wanted to mention here as well, at least briefly. Golden Tate. I don't know how the Russell Wilson-Tate relationship is right now, and you got to keep Russ happy, but he'd be a great fit as a wide receiver 3. I know he's old and the same guy was in his prime. He could be your slot. I'd actually love that move a lot for Seattle. Antonio Brown, we've talked a lot about him. Talk more about him in the future as well. That's what Russ wants. We'll see. I threw in some other slottier receivers, Danny Amendola, Trent Taylor, Tavon Austin. If they want speed, that's Tavon Austin's role. I will make note, every year it's going to be different for Tavon Austin, and every year it is not. So I would not assume that Tavon Austin would actually fix the team's receiver issues. So 5 of the names there, but just keep that idea out there. Let's talk Antonio Brown now and the Seattle Seahawks, because Jeremy Fowler back at it again saying it could happen. The Antonio Brown Seahawks drama, I don't think is ever going to stop. Now, to recap what Fowler had to say here more importantly. Fowler says that, well, Russell Wilson loves him and still has some interest there. And he threw in one big kind of but as part of this report. In the event that the Bucs do not re-sign Antonio Brown, and if we get to spring or summer or whenever, maybe the Seahawks could swoop in and try and bring in AB. Now, clearly, the Antonio Brown-Tom Brady relationship works a lot better than most of the ones have worked for Antonio Brown in recent years, but there is plenty of risk involved with bringing in AB. At this point, I kind of don't think that these rumors are simply ever going to go away. They keep popping up. Every single year, almost every other week or 2 weeks, there's another like, that could work there. Until Seattle adds a bigger wide receiver 3 than Freddie Swain, and until Antonio Brown signs, at least for this year, I think it will continue to pop up as a potential outcome because, well, it's AB, it's Seattle, it's Russell Wilson, right? It keeps popping up over and over again. It does, however, give us an opportunity to bring back one of our favorite questions. Do you want Antonio Brown? Get your votes in for me in the comments right now. Type in AB for yes, you do, or type in FAB for no. You know, as we discussed before, on the field-wise, there's not that much to complain about. There's really not. Like, production as a kind of a number 3/number 4, number 5, even target in 8 games, Antonio Brown played well. When he was on the field, he got targeted plenty. 45 catches, almost 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. You could double those, and you got a player approaching 1,000 yards and 8 scores and almost 90 catches. That carries value. And with what Seattle has currently on their depth chart, pretty straightforward. DK Metcalf, Lockett, Antonio Brown. If you trust the headspace of one Antonio Brown, which maybe you don't, and that's fine, you know what? That's one of the better wide receiver trios in the NFL. You throw in Russell Wilson, Gerald Everett, and the Let Russ Cook campaign, just like that, is back on schedule, and it's back as being a legitimate option for the Seahawks. Of course, for Antonio Brown, you can't really trust him, can you? Because it's just one more incident away from you having to go, oh, we're done with you, AB. Like, he's had so many chances, burned so many bridges in one calendar year. Steelers, Raiders, Patriots, was gone from all 3 of them quickly. That's concerning. So for Seattle, yes, there's interest there, and I think it makes some sense. It comes down to less about the on-field side of things and much more about the headspace, the mental aspect for Antonio Brown. Is his head on straight? Is he going to stay focused and not be a problem? If you know the answer is yes, go get him. If you're not sure, you got to be careful there if you're Seattle. Some quick training camp notes I wanted to dive into here coming over from our good friend Peter King. And this is interesting to me. He reports the NFL is looking to make the start of training camp into a key event for the league. Remember, you have the NFL draft, right, in late April, the scouting combine in February, NFL free agency in March. All the months have something big there. Not so much when we get to July. So the NFL is at least considering taking this approach. If you guys are familiar with the whole midnight madness thing for college basketball, when all the scrimmages and practices all get going, right? The NFL is considering doing something similar, where they would be able to have 28 teams start camp on July 27th, which is an interesting pitch for the NFL. Now, of the 4 teams who would not do it, you're thinking the 2 teams who are going to play on the Hall of Fame game and the 2 teams playing in the Thursday night opener, so the ones who actually play games earlier get a slightly earlier start. But this is worth monitoring. Now, the flip side here is that it's just the start of practice. So I don't think the NFL would be able to spin it into a whole massive event. However, with the backing of NFL Network, I'm sure ESPN would get on board. You might be able to make it a media creation, which point, you know what? At least we have football back at that point. So I am very curious to see what the path is here for the NFL. But keep an eye out for this move coming probably after the draft officially. NFL camps get going on July 27th, and then they make some major, trying to make it, I should say, a fairly giant NFL-focused training camp, midnight madness type of move. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening, but keep an eye on it for in the not-too-distant future.